Hey everybody, we just wanted to come to you guys and share our story. So I'm still on COVID precautions, so this is my last day. And since he's so close to me, I'm gonna keep my mask on. He's no longer on COVID precautions, so he is not required to wear a mask anymore. So I told everybody we was gonna share our story, and basically just start from the beginning. And so this is gonna be a trigger warning video, and it's also probably gonna be a little long. We're not gonna try to make it that long, but I'm still recovering, and breathing and stuff for me hurts. So I will start with what started on Saturday. I ended up getting COVID, or testing COVID positive last weekend on Saturday. And pretty much I had a fever, was just sweating a lot. I did have shortness of breath, and that's when I went into the hospital to get checked, and everything was fine. They did test for COVID, and that's how I found out I had COVID. So I just went home. We was quarantining the whole week, and so after we quarantined, we've really been in the house this whole week. Aaron's been letting me relax a lot, and just doing normal stuff at home, playing card games and all that. So fast forward to this Saturday, December 5th. Pretty much I started having contractions, but they were not painful. They just felt like Braxton Hicks contractions, but they were starting to hurt a little bit, and I told Aaron, like, it's too early for me to be having contractions. I think we should just go to the hospital and get checked. And he was like, okay, let's go ahead and go. So I was like, let me just use the restroom really fast, and then we can go. So I went to the restroom, and for some reason I couldn't breathe, and I could hear my heart throbbing in my head, and I was like, why can't I breathe? So I got off the toilet, I went and sat on the bed, and I called Aaron in the room, and I explained to him what just happened, and then it went away. And he was like, well, do you think it's your asthma? Do you think it's COVID? Maybe the baby's sitting, a certain way. He was like, let's just hurry and go ahead and leave. And I was like, actually, I am in labor. My contractions picked up real quick, and I felt like I had to go number 2, pretty much. So I was just like, just give me a second. Let me go to the restroom again before we leave. As soon as I sat on the toilet, I looked at Aaron, and I told him, I said, I think I'm going to pass out, and then he can take it from there, because I don't remember what happened after I told him that. So you go ahead and tell.
So yeah, she was sitting on the toilet, and she was pretty much telling me that she felt like she had to throw up, and she was like, I'm gonna pass out. So she started throwing up spaghetti, and then like within like 2 to 3 seconds she was out. And then I looked at her and I was like, Lyteesha, like, what's going, like, Lyteesha, like, what are you doing? And she was pretty much out. She didn't answer me. Her, her neck and stuff was hanging down a little bit. So I had to go over there and grab her, and I had to place her onto the ground on her side. And that's when she, after a couple seconds of tapping her back and stuff like that, she came back. And she was, still out of it, not knowing what happened and stuff. And I pretty much told our sister, or my sister-in-law, her little sister, to call 911. And that's when we got 911 there. And things got really stupid after that.
Aaron said I wasn't breathing during the time I passed out. I don't even remember any of that. So I just remember waking up to my sister trying to pick me up off the ground. And and Channing was in the room he was just saying, "Mommy, like, Daddy, what's wrong with Mommy?" And, Aaron was on the phone with 911. And, so fast forward, the ambulance get there. I'm still laying on the floor. I can't get up. My stomach was hurting so bad. And I did natural birthing. I gave birth naturally with my daughter with no medication, so I knew what contractions were feeling like. And I told the ambulance, the medics, I told them I am having contractions, but there's something else happening. This pain that I'm feeling is not a contraction. My stomach stayed hard. They took my blood pressure, and it was 80/44. And they was like, "Well, do you want to go to the hospital?" I'm looking at them like, what do you mean do I want to go to the hospital? Like, why would I? Like, my blood pressure is clearly 80/44. Why would I not go? I'm 34 weeks pregnant. I'm in labor. So they were like, "Okay, well, we're going to get you outside. The cot is outside. You have to walk to the cot because you have stairs. We can't bring it in the house." So I stood up, and I felt like I was going to pass out again. So I sat down on the floor, and I just knew in my head, I knew I had to hurry and get out and just go. So I crawled. I had to crawl to my front door. And they walked behind me and watched me crawl to the front door. And then I had to walk down the stairs outside. So I had to just put it in my mind to just get on the cot, and then maybe they'll start helping me. I got on the cot. They put me in the back of the truck, and they did not even leave. We were outside for a good 10-15 minutes. They were doing glucose. They were doing another set of vitals. They were doing the IV, and it was only 2 of them. And I kept telling the guy, like, my stomach is hard. My stomach is very, very hard. Not one time did he feel my stomach. Not one time did he bother to check anything down there. He didn't even barely touch me at all. He did my IV, and he started doing his paperwork on his laptop. He kept telling me, "Oh, you're in labor." He said, "I'm a man. I know, and even I know that all pregnancies are different." And I was just like, am I going crazy? Mind you guys, I was lightheaded. I was dizzy. I was so sick. I was just telling myself in my head to just stay awake. Just stay awake. He said that the ambulance is only 8 minutes away, or the hospital is only 8 minutes away. So I was like, okay, we'll be there in 8 minutes. Then they decided to drive normal speed to the hospital. They didn't even drive fast. They drove just normal. They stopped at every red light. And then we got to the hospital. I told him to take me to the closest hospital. We got to the hospital and they went to the wrong entrance. The entrance was closed. When he called in my report, he didn't even mention that I was pregnant until like the last sentence. He didn't tell them that my blood pressure was 80/44 when he first arrived on scene. He didn't tell them anything. He just told them my blood pressure is 100, was the IV established, and that my chief complaint is just feeling sick. So I knew I was tripping or I was doomed, pretty much. They did not allow my husband to ride with us because they didn't know if him having COVID, will they let him up in the room or not. So they told him to just call and make sure first. So we finally got to the hospital. They brought me in, and they were standing around the desk just laughing with the receptionist up front. They were like, well, we don't know where to take her. Chief complained, just feeling sick. She's 34 weeks pregnant. He didn't even tell them that I'm having contractions. He timed my contractions. They were 3 minutes apart. By the time we got to the elevator, he timed them again because I told him my contractions are closer together, and they were 1 minute apart. And he was like, yeah, they are 1 minute apart. If what you're telling me is true. He's just like, breathe, you're just in labor. And I kept telling him, I'm 34 weeks. I'm not supposed to be in labor, so something's clearly wrong. My stomach is hard. This pain, I was screaming. The pain, I never felt that before. So we got into the hospital, labor and delivery. They checked me in pretty quickly, and the nurse that they sent in, she went to put the heart tones on for the baby, and she took my blood pressure again, and from the ambulance to the room, my blood pressure dropped back down to 80 over some like 50 or something. And she looked at them like, is this her blood pressure? This is what you guys had? And then he said, no, we had 100 with IV established. They didn't even mention anything. I had to tell her I passed out. I had to tell her I wasn't breathing. I had to tell her everything that happened to me that I know of at home. But she went to put the heart tones on my stomach, and she couldn't find the heartbeat. So she called the doctor, and the doctor came in with the ultrasound, and he did the ultrasound, and he said he sees a little bit of cardiac activity, and it's bradycardic. So he called in his other doctor, and he went to do the ultrasound, and he couldn't find anything. So the doctor looked at me and said, we're about to take you to emergency C-section. Everything's going to happen so fast. People are going to be in and out of the room. Just try your best to do what they say, pretty much. And at that point, I was screaming because of the pain. I told them just do whatever they have to do. Put me to sleep. Whatever. I don't care. Just get the baby. Make sure the baby's okay. Make sure I don't die. Make sure everything's fine. You know, I didn't know what was happening. And neither did they. So we get to the OR. That was about maybe 5 minutes within me arriving here. So it wasn't even a long time, all that happened. I was here by myself, so the nurse came in and she was holding my hand. And then probably the craziest part out of all of it, maybe, I don't even know, happened. I guess I'll just tell you guys from my point of view. The doctor said we have to get this baby out now. Tell me the magic word. The magic word will be cut. let me know when. He was talking to the anesthesiologist. Anesthesiologist had to establish a line and get things situated on her part. So she was taking a little bit longer than the doctor wanted. And he was just like, you need to hurry up. You don't have time for this. So they put a mask on me and they told me to take deep breaths. And that's what I was doing. I was trying to suck in as much as I can because I thought that was going to put me to sleep. And I was scared. And then next thing I know, she says, cut. And he started cutting me. And I started screaming because I was not numb. I was awake. They had to strap my arms down. And at this point, they started to intubate me. But I thought I was throwing up. I was a little drowsy, and I started to just like make weird noises, and I thought I was going to throw up. And I knew if I didn't tell them that I ate a lot of spaghetti, that I might aspirate it back, and I could die like that. So I was trying to tell them that, but then I was knocked out. Next thing I know, I woke up in the room, recovery room. First thing I said when I woke up was, where's my baby? Where's my baby? Aaron was in the room at the time, and I just remember seeing his hand. He was holding me, and my nurse was holding my other hand and hooking me up to stuff, and everybody in the room was crying. I could hear everybody crying. I finally opened my eyes and I said, he's gone, isn't he? And Aaron finally answered me, and he said that the baby, didn't make it. And then the nurse came and told me that they worked on him for 35 minutes, and that he passed away right before they started the C-section. And they still did try their best, but he didn't make it. And they pretty much, with my circumstances, never seen this really happen before. So I ended up losing, in my uterus, I lost 2 liters of blood. But it was really around 4 liters of blood altogether. They had to give me 4 liters or units or something of blood after. And I had to get 2 units of plasma because I had no more clotting factor because all my blood was pretty much gone. So all the blood in my body, only 1 liter of it is mine. The rest of it is from whoever donated their blood. So I almost lost my life. My baby lost his life. And it was just the most tragic thing that I ever went through. And this is the second time I almost died this year, but this time was just, it was the real deal. I am now currently healing from my C-section. Our baby is on this floor. But as you guys know, babies, when people pass away, they don't look the same days later. So we are not able to handle him being in the room anymore. They are taking care of him in the other room. Pretty much he's in the freezer. That's what one of the nurses told me. She was not my nurse, and I should never have asked. And we are planning his funeral. We are trying to figure out what to do from here, pretty much. Aaron is out of work for the rest of this week because if he leaves the hospital, they will not let him back. And, you know, they are thinking about keeping me till Wednesday if everything else goes good. I am on like a lot of antibiotics because they were not able to properly clean me before cutting me open. You know, and just infection and everything that, you know, all the rest that goes with that. So, so yeah, I am just trying my best to do what I can. We just want to let everybody know we appreciate everybody who has helped out in their own way. I don't know who that could be.
Hello? Yes, 1 second. Social worker.
So I will finish this video in a minute.